Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
And a second. Discussion, changes? Seeing none. All those in favor indicate yes, Mike.
There is a warrant in there that was not on the original list that Melanie talked about. So I don't know if you want to make a motion to add that one warrant that wasn't in the original list you got.
I don't think that affects the agenda.
No. Right.
No? Don't need it? Okay.
Sounds like no.
If not, all those approving the agenda, we did that, right? Approval of the minutes.
We have to move on.
All right, we'll vote on it. Approval of the agenda, is there a vote? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed? Agenda is approved. Approval of the minutes, 6/12/2023.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes of 6/12/2023 as presented.
Second?
And a second. Discussion, changes.
I have a few changes.
Okay, Marilyn?
At the bottom of the first page is the statement Mary McIntyre made. If you go down to the third line, they feel their volunteer board does not have the time and effort to move. There's some extra words in there to put in the time and the effort. I think there's too many words there. On the top of the next page, the second line, it says B. Rambos from here. It said there have been some outside Castleton, Humberton as well. And then the next line down, it says B. Rambos stated they are using, cross out the next word, the program, as though, not thought, they were residents. The next line down on the police report, the first sentence, the needs of the cruises they have left instead of or. And that's all I found.
Okay.
I'm good.
You good? Yeah?
You got them all.
You all set? Joe?
Yeah, back to the top of page 2, in the third line, there's a sentence, J. Lamy asked if Castleton subsiding for out-of-town participants. I don't know what subsiding means in that context.
Subsidizing is what he said.
Subsidized.
Subsidizing. That would be correct. Thank you. Otherwise, it's fine.
All those in favor of accepting the minutes as presented with corrections indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Citizens' comments and or concerns, issues not on the agenda. Seeing none, do we have any on Zoom?
No.
No one on Zoom? Okay.
We have somebody in Zoom, but it's not asking to stay.
Oh, okay, all right, okay, if not, we'll move on. Police chief, update.
Yes, good evening, Board, Chairman. You all got the monthly report for May. I know it seems like we're always a month behind, but that's the way it works. If you look at the calls for service, we were down 46 calls from April. Nothing really stands out outside community outreach. The community outreach was the food deliveries that we made. We always enter a case and we do that. Any questions on that? Criminal arrests, we had 7, same we had in April. Any questions on those? Traffic violations, been averaging, probably down a little bit. We'll probably pick up more in the summer as it gets in the heat of it. Any questions on those? Calls of service, obviously Castleton, that was the last month they were here. We did have 2 in May, of course, before they graduated. That's what those 2 are. Backup provided CPD. Most of them were in Fairhaven. We had 1 in Holden for VSP. And looking at it, I know we talked about this before. I think the university did well this year off campus. We didn't really have a lot of issues. Like I told you before, during that period of time, a lot of the off-campus, I say a lot, like 4 of the houses came to me and asked me criteria of having a party and the protocols. And obviously, we can't say they can't have them, but we did put time frames on them. So I always suggested they start mid-afternoon and then end by 9, which they complied with. So that worked out well. Drake Road, we did a few of them up there in May. A little more minimal contacts because I think we've already set the a little bit of the respect fear factor up there that we're up there. Maybe not all the time, but at times we are. School buses, we didn't observe any violations in May. Traffic lights is a new thing that they're doing at night. It's quiet. They watch those. They're blinking red and caution lights on down here, and resulted in a DUI arrest and obviously several citations. Because a lot of people at night, they don't stop. They just keep going on the red light going. And we already mentioned the food deliveries. So, any questions on those things? I just got a few more things to go over. Any questions on the report itself?
Joe?
Yes, Joe.
Just a quick question, Chief. Who makes the decision to switch those lights to blinking at night?
It's automatic. They have that set up automatically. The transportation, they're responsible for the lighting system there.
Has that been true forever?
Huh?
Has that been true forever?
No, I want to say they changed that maybe 3 years ago. Before, it would stay red and then, it'd stay on its regular pattern. I think they received a lot of suggestions and complaints saying, late at night, I'm sitting here, there's no cars and that kind of thing. So we got the parade, we got a lot of stuff going on this weekend. The parade's going on at 10 o'clock on Saturday. And one of the things is, usually Jim rides with me, but he wants me to get Buddy Tagger. I'll reach out to him if he wants to ride with me. So, Mike, I know we were going to mention on Wednesday night, but were you setting up for any of to judge any of the stuff that's on the parade? Nothing?
Not judge, we didn't judge last time, but last time I just did a stand to announce who was coming down through.
So, all right, so that's not, so I don't know if any other board members are going to be around. Anybody going to be around? Yeah. You want to hand out candy? I got 500 pieces.
I'm not sure my dentist would approve, but
No,
sure.
it's not even hard copy. It's stuff I had ordered. It's actually, that soft mint stuff you get in restaurants, the soft stuff that melts? But I got it berry flavored. I taste it good.
That's what you like, right?
You didn't.
So I have the side-by-side, if the select board members want to be in the side-by-side and get it in and out, if they want to hand out stuff, but they can use it in the parade.
How about you, Joe? You want to ride in a side-by-side?
You can drive it.
You trust me?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
So we got
Saturday.
that. Yeah, we got the after party. We do have a food cart that's going to be there, so we're going to hold a spot for them for the library in front of there at 11 o'clock.
What's the actual date? I'm sorry.
Excuse me?
What is the actual date of the parade?
The 1st, July 1st is Saturday, yes.
Anyone else? Anyone? Anyone has Baldwin?
I'm not really sure yet.
So we
I
got
might have to run for office someday.
we got most of the participants in from last year. There's a few that had to pull out. I probably got more race cars this year than we had last year. I've had people call me off and on the last couple of weeks. I put my car in there. I said, is it legal? Okay. So where do you live? So that's always an issue. So, and then we have the Sunday, we have the Crystal Beach event starting at 7 o'clock. They have the DJ there from last year, and I don't know about the food thing. I'll have to find out about Wednesday, see what. I don't think we had anybody for food there.
The snack shack, has
It's got
nobody on it.
Yeah, no running water, and that's another issue. But hopefully the weather will hold out, because it's gonna be kind of crappy week, so we'll see how that rolls. And then the alternate date for fireworks will be the December.
Labor Day.
Oh,
So we decided that was Labor Day weekend.
okay. There you go.
Well, people from the lake are still up before they go home.
Okay. And only one other thing
I
is,
just want to go back to this question you asked the select board.
come on, you're the only one. We've asked them all the time, Ted. Dick's been down a few times.
Okay,
Where he's
Mary
usually,
just said
he's
yes.
usually the fire trucks.
Well, I haven't decided if I participate, I may want to decide to be in one of the big red trucks. I haven't done that in a few years.
Do you have a flag top hat? Like a flag, same thing, yeah.
Maybe my, sash from when I was in that competition a couple years ago.
So we got
So
30.
Mary Lee said yes, by the way.
Is that true, Mary Lou?
I have to hop in and out.
So we have 39 participants going on. Some of those are longer than others. We did lose the fife and drum band. And Tom Bowell, they won't be doing theirs because they're doing the breakfast or something over at Fairhaven that period of time.
The motorcycles, trying motorcycles.
Last week we started, we got our training done for the TSA thing. Remember that whole thing I talked to you about months and months ago? We finally got going when we do the pre-checks, the TWIC cards, the hazmats, that transport for the agency of transportation for the feds. So we started that last week on Friday, our first live section. So this Wednesday will be our official. So every Wednesday we will do that from 8 to 4. Right now it's just Ed 9. So Ed is on light duty, so he can do that until his surgery. Then I'll have to do then have somebody cover days until I get some others. I originally had 5 people involved, and 3 of them couldn't finish the process in time. It was a pretty tedious process, took forever. So that starts on Wednesday. So if you have TSA pre-check, you can come here, you just have to sign up online. You know what that is?
You have to stand on lines.
Yeah, you basically miss the lines, basically. Any other questions for the police department? Yes, Mr. Spalding?
I've got 2 of them.
Yeah.
Not sure if it's a big issue or not to you guys, but I constantly see cars going down here and going right on red. Right? I mean, every time I go to the red light, there's somebody, whoop, where they go? I don't know if you guys want
Yeah.
to pick up on that again.
We have in the past, it's just a matter of getting down there and sitting there.
Yeah,
And for us, when I did it, I like to sit farther up from the Citgo and where the dirt parking lot is, I can see it there. Because a lot of them turn right on red, either going south or north on 30. Those are the biggest ones.
okay.
But, I will make a note of that.
And then the other thing is, a relative of mine lives on Main Street, Castle. This was like a month ago. He said that somebody was rifling through his car, and they took everything out of the glove box and threw it all over. He doesn't see where they stole anything. He had an expensive flashlight in there. They left that right there. And then he checked with the neighbors. They did the same thing to their cars too. So that's still going on.
Yeah, we had that. That just actually happened in May. Let's see, when was it? It was before school got let out, the college.
And I think that's when I talked to him, and I said, did you call the police?
Yeah, some of the people didn't
They-
recall.
they
Or
don't.
if they were missing things, we did get a hold of. That person made out with some significant valuables.
What, are they looking for keys to the car?
They're out there looking for stuff to grab, like money. They're not taking, well, some of them took some purses. We did recover a purse on 4A, belonged to a resident out there on 4A. Most of it happened on 4A East, up to Castleton Village Store, that area, and that was it.
Yeah, okay, that's where this was too.
We had one isolated event about 2 weeks ago where they got into a vehicle, and they had a ring camera, but you really can't make out. I forget the residence, right across from the auto place, auto parts.
Yep, yep.
They didn't get anything in there, and he had a helmet, he had all sorts of stuff in there, but that's not what they're looking for, so they're quick stuff.
Yeah.
But I keep telling the people, you know, lock your cars, they're not breaking into them, they're just checking handles and they're going in. So, thanks for reminding me of that.
It was disturbing to me that he didn't at least call and tell you. I said,
Yeah, there's a number of people do that, some of them I'll hear about it later, so I'll say to them, well, why didn't you call? Well, nothing was taken. I said, no, but we like to keep track of how many, you know, where they're coming from, and maybe somebody has a camera in that area, so.
thank you.
No other questions?
Just a clarification, that's still a crime even if nothing is taken, correct?
No, not really.
Because it's not locked.
Well, now that nothing was taken.
If it was locked, it was a different story.
4th century, remember that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else for Peter? Thank you very much, Peter, we appreciate it. Moving on to board reappointments, expiring June 30th, 2023. Laura Sargent would like to be reappointed. Michael Holden requests to finish out Dan Forcier's vacant 3-year position. Is there a motion?
I have a question. Is it too soon?
Sure.
I noticed, I pulled out my little sheet and between the DRB and the Planning Commission, there's quite a few that expire that Michael Sposner, Joe Bruno, on the Planning Commission, Mike's okay, let's see. We don't have anyone in place of Don Wood. I guess that's it on those. Have we done anything as far as trying to fill those spaces?
Have they all been notified, Mike?
The
In
people that,
terms of what expire?
anybody that had a term expiring has been notified. Anything that we know is vacant, I asked Karen to post for like the vacant DRB, but their term ends June 30th, so we pick up somebody starting the 1st of July. I haven't seen it come out, I don't think unless somebody's seen it come out Front Porch Forum. I don't think she did, but Karen had a chance to do it before she left. But we did ask to post it, I did ask to post those vacancies.
It just seemed like there was quite a few.
And Dan Forcier resigned his, so that's why Mike Holden was asking to finish that one out and then pick up the 3-year term up to 1 year.
Any other questions?
Well,
Bob?
maybe just my inability to understand this, but Mike wants to fill out the 3-year seat, which will expire on 6/30/24, a year from now. But then he, down below, they said he will request reappointment for the 3-year term again next June. Okay, so okay, I see, he wants to pick up the 3-year term after it expires next year.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Dick?
Prepared to move that we approve all of these 5 requests for continuation on the DRB and Planning Commission.
Get a second.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on, CDERAC members did not request reappointment. We have a letter from Mary McIntyre, I believe, on that subject. Any discussion of the letter?
Yeah, I'd like to ask a question. Is she suggesting that they just dissolve this CDERAC committee? Is that what she's asking?
No.
No. Okay.
What I read here, the CDERAC committee would be a committee similar to the Recreation Committee, but there would be a full-time economic development director.
Do you have any idea, she had said something about connecting it with another position to make it full-time? Any idea what she
I
wants
believe
to connect it
that's the
with?
intent of it. Yep, that's the intent of it. And what would a full-time position cost, Mike, you estimate with salary and benefits?
If we combine it with something else, like zoning or rec or something like that, you know, you're splitting the cost, but for a full-time person in that salary range, probably, with all benefits, about 70 grand a year. Because you're talking about a $40,000 salary, and then if they took a family plan, you're talking $30,000 for benefits. Well, we pay 20% of that, so I guess it really wouldn't be that much. I was took the whole part, but whoever would come on, they pay 80% of the cost of benefits, so it's very,
Something approaching 60.
yeah, somewhere in 60,000.
What are your thoughts on, what would you combine it with, Mike? Have you thought about that at all?
Yeah, I mean, Brandon combined theirs with their rec, but they're well established. So our rec program is not well established at this point, so I think knowing the personalities involved, if we tried to combine it with rec, I don't think that would, my personal opinion, it wouldn't work right now. So the question would be, the only other part-time positions that we have are zoning. We struggled with zoning to get people to apply for the job. So if it was a full-time position and they're sharing duties, there's a lot of concerns there. Is it the right person? Can they do both those type jobs and do it justice? We probably get more applicants if it was a full-time position rather than these 15-hour week, 12-hour week part-time positions.
Yep.
Because, you know, Mr. Leamy is going to not be the health officer forever, and when we get a replacement, they're not going to work for free. So, because they're not all independently wealthy.
I owe you one now.
So we're gonna have to fill these positions, and I have, I don't wanna be labor, because I wanna add something else in there, but I'll go back to what you were saying.
Sure.
Is we probably would have to combine it to get, because hiring somebody for like a 30-hour week, you know, they still get full-time benefits, but they're not making 40 hours a week. We're still struggling to find people.
I understand.
So I guess my only recommendation would be zoning, the zoning officer or assessor. Those are the only other part-time positions that we have, or, you know, again, if we get a part-time accounting position, we got a part-time town clerk. So I think some thought has to go into this and talk to other towns and see what worked for them before we really start diving into how to do it, because you're talking two very distinctly different things, like rec versus, you know, economic development.
Sure.
So,
I can see that there'd be a problem that someone might be very proficient on economic development, but not on rec or not on zoning. I mean, if we're gonna spend the money, we want somebody that's capable and able to do the job.
and that's where the rub will come. I know Pulteney started off with their economic development person as part-time, and then they reaped some benefits, and they got a full-time person now. So it didn't happen overnight. It took a couple of years to build it up, but they actually saw the value of having a full-time economic development person.
And that's all they do down there?
Yeah,
They didn't combine it with anything else?
so it's not combined. But
Okay.
the other, I believe Sarah has more than those duties, but not as like a volunteer.
Okay.
Okay. Gives us something to think about, certainly. Joe?
Well, I was just gonna say, it sounds like there are a number of options, but that this is a proposal that should come from the town manager. And we just need to think about the timeline for this recommendation so that we can plan appropriately for the upcoming budget.
Okay.
So presumably, early fall would be the right time to get back to us, no later than.
Okay.
Is your what, so before we go to the budget planning cycle?
Yeah, that agreeable to other board members?
Certainly makes sense.
Okay. All righty, thank you.
I don't think we're done yet, because you said that we're not dissolving the CDERAC, but this over here says they don't want to, members did not request reappointment.
I believe Ted Molnar has not said anything yet.
So just the one?
Well, I'm sure he's not communicated forwarding it to you, and maybe this is inaccurate, but I believe that he doesn't intend to continue on CDERAC.
I would tend to, expect that, I guess, with everybody else kind of back out of it, so.
You've got 1, 2, 3 that retire, or one's vacant. We've got 4 actually that expire this year. And we've got a vacant spot anyway on CDERAC.
The letters I'm getting were like from Beth Murphy that they no longer have the time to commit to it, so it's not, they're not even gonna fill their term. So if their term hasn't expired yet, they're just not gonna, they're basically resigning.
Do they all expire June 30th of this year? No?
They try to stagger them, so they shouldn't. I don't have Mary's list.
Yeah, you said Ted is continuing, and he doesn't expire until 24.
Joe thinks that he's not going to.
Oh, okay. PD wasn't, didn't she say one time she wasn't going to?
Yeah, she's done. She's done
She's
already.
done. Christine Ryan was supposed to end,
Done.
done.
Christine's already resigned.
Zach,
Zach's not renewing.
you're going to be the only one.
I have not been reappointed for another term yet, and I have not agreed to accept a term, so we could discuss that at a separate
Beth
time.
Murray, you said no. And Martha Clifford.
Done.
You
Sounds
may
like
not
Ted's the
have
only
them just
question.
because of lack of people.
When do you expire? Yeah, you expire this year?
Yes. Friday.
Friday.
Right.
Coming right up.
I know.
Not to rush it, but you're the only member left. You're one member right now.
I have not decided to accept another term. We're not. That's something that the select board will have to discuss.
And, I mean,
But if I'm the only member, I don't see any point in having a meeting. I could go to the mirror in the laundry room and talk to myself.
Kind of what I was getting at. I mean,
Nobody argue with you.
I've lost arguments with myself more than once. I don't know about you.
To answer your question, the last sentence in the long sentence in the first paragraph, it is our vision that economic developer would work closely with appointed CDERAC members. Very similar to the manner of our Parks and Recreation Director works with our new appointed Recreation Commission members. So that means they're still going to be there.
But we don't have
Well,
anybody to
nobody-
be there.
Well,
there's one still there.
Mr. Chairman, one of the things that I was asked about advertising, and I said, don't advertise until we figure out how the board wants to move this thing forward. So it could be held off until the determination's made about whether a full-time position would be the way to go. And then at that point, maybe if you see value in it, then try to fill those positions. But with only a couple people on this type of committee, it's, first of all, there's not a quorum, and two, they need some direction. There needs to be a lot of effort put into this one if the board decides to refill these positions so that they're not floundering around and rudderless ship kind of thing. And that's no dig on them. It's just, I think they got frustrated because they were like, there's what's the vision here? What do you want us to do kind of thing?
So your recommendation is we just hold off, there will be no CDERAC until we hold off and decide what we're gonna do?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what I would recommend.
okay.
that agreeable to the board members?
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on then.
Choice.
Okay? Okay. Discussion, update of the fee schedule for the transfer station. Mr. Manager.
So coming into the close of the fiscal year, it's been a challenge, working with Melanie to get some updated information from the Rutland County Solid Waste District, because there's some things like recycling that we're not even close to being current on our revenues. So for me to come back to the select board and recommend anything with changing fee structures based upon what goes out the door and what comes in the door as far as money, I don't have anything for you at this point, because whatever I do could be really inaccurate. So my best guess is, looking at it, if they want a crystal ball thing, was leave the fee structure as it is. We're not I don't think we're gonna do too much damage with it. And we also can probably recognize that the recycling is, it's up and ebb and flow, up and down based upon commodity and market prices, so that's always a best guess going into it. The only question I had for the select board was Hubbard. You know, is there any, do you want to have any further discussion on percentages of what Hubbard pays for towards the expenses and what they get for percentages from the revenues? There's no record that Hubbard can find or Castleton that we could find that shows when and how that was all decided on, like 20% of expenditures and 15% of revenue. It might be worth getting it put on paper so that in the future, whoever's sitting in these spots don't have to always every year guess on what's going on. And the other thing I would ask the select board to support is Hubbard brings in things like culverts, and there was an argument a few years ago that it was recyclable. Well, now those black culverts and stuff are not recyclable. And they bring it in and they're dumping for free. And I just don't think that's right, and there's no written agreement that we can find. And I just want to be able to go back to the Hubbard and send them a letter just saying, if you're bringing stuff in like the culverts and things that aren't recyclable from your town, not residents, but from the town, that they should pay for it like anybody else would. And I'm not sure what your feelings are on that, but recently it happened with culverts, and they brought in full sections of culvert, and they wanted to put them in the bins, and Chris said no, because it takes up too much space when they're not cut up in smaller pieces, and asked them to go back and cut them up in smaller pieces and bring them back. And I had to go around with their highway foreman about it, and the statement was, well, we've always been able to bring that stuff down there and get rid of it for free. And if that's the case, because it said it was a couple times a year. If a patron goes in there a couple times a year, doesn't pay for the garbage, is that okay?
It's not okay with me because it will reflect in the budget at the end of the year.
And we pay for it.
Yeah, we all pay for it. Yeah, and I don't even use the transfer station, so that is not right.
We're only asking them to do what we ask our own citizens.
Correct.
So does the town of Hubbard bring anything other than culverts down there and expect to dispose of them at no charge?
I'm only aware of culverts, because metal they can dump in the recycling bin, so it's a metal culvert, it's done with. I mean, we got Mr. Goyette, who has been up there running that before, and may have seen something besides culverts.
The only other time I've ever seen them there is green up. They bring their green up in, whatever they pick up, throughout Hubbard and from their green up time. That's the only other time I've seen them in there. Day-to-day trash, no, I haven't seen them in there on a regular basis with day-to-day trash. But it'd be the green up day, or the day after green up day, and then once or twice a year, seems like it's once a year, they clean up around the shop and all the plastic culverts or whatever they bring in. That's all I've ever seen.
My opinion is that I think it's reasonable for them to be able to dispose of their green up, the same as our town does. The question is, should we at least weigh it so we know how much they're bringing in for green up, and then we can decide, because the town of Castleton is going to have to pay the tipping fee for that. Right?
We weighed all our green up this year, the last couple of years, even the town of Castleton.
So at least we know how much it is. I mean, if it's a few hundred pounds, that's one thing, but if it's a few tons, that's another thing. But as far as them bringing debris from their highway garage, i.e. culverts, I think it's reasonable to have them cut them up into smaller pieces before they bring them, but I also think it'd be reasonable to weigh them and have them pay the same fee as anyone else. That's my opinion.
I agree with you.
I agree with you, and I'd like to see what they have on paper where they can dump for free.
When I talked to Janet, there was nothing, this is just the way it's always been kind of thing, so I don't believe there's anything on paper, but it kind of goes back to what the percentages that they're charged for that 20% of the operating costs and 15% of the recycling, so I believe those are pretty accurate numbers, but this is nobody can find those, and what I was told was maybe in Hubbard minutes or somewhere buried in our archives of minutes where two select boards, that's what was alleged, was the two select boards sat down at some point and come up with this agreement. And there's no way, oh, somebody's coughing.
Yeah, that's me. Just correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that every time that this is Dave.
They produce.
Okay, yes, Dave, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure every time that I've gone there with Castleton Waste, I've weighed in also. So I'm not sure why Hubbardton doesn't.
And isn't the issue of black plastic something that's changed recently?
It is, yes.
So whatever may have been true in the past isn't necessarily true now that black plastic is no longer recyclable.
It doesn't go into recycling anymore, it goes in demo.
I had that conversation with Jim.
I know you guys and ladies are tired of hearing me say this, but we have got to figure out the percentages up there. We've got to do it. We go through this conversation every damn year.
I struggle, Bob, to try
I know you
to
do.
figure out how to do that without having a set of scales out there weighing their bags and stuff.
I know. There's a way to do it, but you don't necessarily have to wait for the bag coming in. But just to get, is it really 20%? Is it 12%? Is it 28%? I'd like a closer number. If we're gonna continue to charge them 20%, that's a fifth of the trash up there. I don't know. I don't really believe Hubbardton brings in a fifth of the trash up there, but then again, you've got a private hauler that goes up and picks up 100, 125 Hubbardton stops, and he brings it in there, so maybe if you put the two together, maybe it is 20%, maybe it's 30%. I don't know.
And I know, that would be a difficult one without just putting stuff in a separate bin, but we don't have two compactors, so we
No,
put
I
an
know.
open bin, we have garbage sitting in an open bin.
I know.
But then the thing is, the town of Castleton is responsible for everything about that transfer station, they're just a user. So there's a benefit that they get out of this, they don't have to have their own transfer station. So, they might not take 1/5 of the trash, but they're also causing us to do more work too.
What about, if your crusher or whatever breaks down? Is it all our expense, or do they pay a portion of it?
If it comes out of the operating budget to fix, which it may or may not, depending on the cost of it. It could be a capital expenditure, which the transfer station capital reserve was all included the compactor if we ever had to replace it. Because getting a new one. But normal, just routine repairs come out of the operating budget and they share in their 20% or whatever of the operating cost, so they would cost share.
Joe?
I was just going to say that, I share your point of view, Bob. From a certain point of view, it would be very nice to know more precisely what they're contributing to the trash we collect. But I think this falls into the category of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, I think both boards, for the most part, accept that there was this agreement long ago, even though we can't document it. And unless and until we have the time, and I think it will take a lot of time and the infrastructure to separate it and figure out more precisely what each town is contributing, I think we should live with it, what we've got.
At the 20% vote?
Yeah.
Now, do you agree for them to dump their culverts for nothing up there? Is that?
When the rules on black plastic recycling change, nobody should be allowed to dump that plastic for free.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else on setting the fees? Oh, I'm sorry, Bob, you have something? Joe, what's
I think
$25?
Mike said you gotta wait on it, right? I mean, is that
For way on what?
on the setting the fees?
Well, I'm recommending basically right now that there be no changes based upon what I know right now, unless there's something catastrophic that happens, but, we're not getting the recycling number, so we know what the operating expenses are, but the revenue coming in is a challenge, and there are some things from Rutland County Solid Waste District, they lag on sending us bills. So this is one of the ugly ones to try to figure out, just due to sometimes they're not very quick in providing us the money that we have for revenue and the expense, or the costs associated with getting rid of the trash.
Do you know what the two numbers are right now? Do you know what the revenues are versus the expenses? Do you have?
Right now, I think our operating budget would have to not be fully executed to offset the revenues, because we're down on some revenues on some of that bulky, or whoever's bulky, or I think we're okay on bulky, but the other one, MSW, we're down on.
So,
Does it have to be done tonight? Can it be done 6 months from now? Does it have to be done yearly now?
You can change the fees, Mary Lee, at any time you guys so desire. We just need to give people notice before we actually implement it.
So 6 months from now, if we have a better feeling, then we can change it?
Minus the permit fees, because they'll be buying the permits up front. But the scale fees and the per bag price fees, yeah, you could re-entertain. You could get back in whatever time frame you want and ask me to provide you an update at 6 months, or.
Can you put a little pressure on the solid waste district to get their bills out to you, or?
Melanie and myself have both
I'm sure you have.
repeated emails and phone calls. And
But it's kind of strangling us.
they know that too, because Melanie's not bashful about telling them.
In 6 months' time, we could lose quite a bit. We don't adjust
Maybe
it.
3 months. I just want to know if it had to be done tonight.
I don't know how we're gonna do it tonight.
Just as long as the
Only
permit
the
fees don't
permit
change.
Only the permit fee has to be done tonight.
yeah.
The bag fees could be changed at any time. Is that correct, Mike?
So if you have no issues with the first, second, and third vehicle permit fees, then we'll just move on like did business as usual.
At this point, I don't think we have a sufficient information to make any adjustments, so I think that we should leave this one alone. And if, like Mary Lee asked, a month or 6 months or 9 months from now, we decide we need to adjust bag fees or bulky fees or anything else, we can do that at any point in time, as long as we give the residents notice.
Are you going to do some research, hopefully, on the question of is Hubbardton paying its fair share?
That's, again, what do you want, again, we'll go back to the question of how is that 20%, we don't know how it was determined. Was it a census data? Was it, there's no record, Jim, that's the,
You can
it's
start,
hard telling not knowing.
you can start from square one and go from there.
You know, I mean, Melanie and I could look at a couple different options, like census data and figure out percentages.
Yep.
But then we gotta throw in the wild card of Ed Bulge, you know, because he picks up in both towns.
Okay, anything else? How about do you want to set the permit fees, folks?
Do we need to do anything if we don't change it?
No? You don't change? No. Need a motion to continue same fee for permits?
I think if you could do that, it would just be, it'd be in writing in our minutes, so.
All right, then I'll make a motion that we continue on the next year with the same permit fees per vehicle and for the temporary pass.
Is there a second? I'm sorry, got the move there.
And if and when we need to adjust the other fees, we can do that at some point, giving the public 30 days notice.
I'll second
A
that.
second, any other discussion?
Oh, just the temporary fee, where is that, Dick?
That's the $5 when you get the day pass.
I see it now, I just was wondering where it was on there.
I just wanted to have that in the minutes.
Yeah.
We're not going to change any of those,
Okay,
the permit fee or the temporary pass fee. And the other ones could be reviewed at any point in time.
okay.
Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes, moving on. Line striping, bid award, recommendation, parking lots, crosswalks, etc. Mike?
Okay, Lawrence. Paper.
Wait a minute. Steve, you want a minute to catch up there?
I think I'm good. So,
Anybody hot?
It's warm enough in here. Is that what you're asking?
Until you're turning the air conditioning down.
Well, it's right now, it's blowing right at you, yeah. Yeah, it'd be much better than.
The frost on your top of your head.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, Mr. Chairman, for the parking lots crosswalks, I wrote on the front of it, my recommendation was award the bid to the only bidder, K5 Corporation, for an amount not to exceed $7,584 for the services described in the bid packet.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
And a second, discussion.
I got one question.
Can I just raise a procedural question? I think we're on line striping.
Yes.
Well, he specifically talked about the
Oh, you're, okay.
roadway parking lot striping and paving.
Gotcha.
That's what we're specifically talking about right now. We'll have to go to the line striping, but we're not there yet.
Mike, did you want to hold off on this under the new information you got before the meeting, or is it, that's just, it's too close?
He won't do some of the stuff that's in roadways, he'll do parking lots and stuff.
Okay.
So I've got a separate bid for some of the other stuff, but for right now, this will get us through this year.
Okay.
But that's a great question, because he might come in cheaper. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everybody understand that now? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
The next one was, if you want, we're going to the next one, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
So center lines, fog lines, that roadway package, there was two bidders. My recommendation is K5, for the select board to award it to K5 Corporation for 12 cents per linear foot, which is, per linear foot equals $11,880 for 99,000 linear feet.
So moved.
I'll second.
A second, discussion. If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Next is the paving bid award.
Yeah, this one's fun. Yeah, there was some discussion on the phone today between, I talked to Tommy Fuller and to Tim Rice from Wilk Paving, and it wasn't clear in the bid packet that whether this was an all or nothing event, whether it's by bid packet or if it was everything. And I got two answers. I got one is like, we'll do either, and the other one said, well, I did it, all my prices were based on it's the whole thing. So in fairness, I talked to both of them, and basically the chips will fall where they may, as the kind of the response. And looking at it, if all three bids are awarded, and looking at the difference in tonnage, the two different bids, Fuller Sand and Gravel came in at $458,768.50 for 3,910 tons, and Wilk Paving came in at $432,287 for 4,045 tons. And I looked at each project, and there was one that was an error made, and the bidder we corrected that. And I talked to, just so it was up and up, I talked to both of the contractors, so they were aware of the changes. And at this point, financially, when you add up the cost per ton, the difference in those tons, it's cheaper to go with, I say cheaper, not cheaper, less expensive, to go with Wilk Paving for $432,287 for all three bid packets. And there's a copy in there of what was in those bid packets, and if you want to maybe go through them, I can go through them.
Is there a motion?
I move that the select board authorize the town manager to contract with Wilk Paving for paving services detailed in the bid package at the price of $432,287.
I'll second it.
Second, discussion? Mike?
Nobody else, none of the select board members have anything
Well, just one
Why didn't
question, is
you-
that gonna be done this season or next season?
this season.
Okay.
But on the front page, on this header page I provided, we're short out of the current paving budget, which, just to refresh the board's memory, $104,500 comes out of the operating budget. $104,500 comes from ARPA that you'd already authorized, for a total of $209,000. Then there's $170 from highway, or previous year carryover, so that's $379. So taking that into account, there's a $53,287 difference to get all three bid packets completed. And I asked that the select board authorize the use that $53,287 out of unassigned highway carryover, which, if you, that number that's in there now is $355,122. So I'm asking to use basically the $53,287 out of that amount to make the bid monies whole.
But the note in yellow suggests that we authorize an amount not to exceed 60,000.
Oh, yeah, I apologize. That was for contingencies. So yes, I correct what I was saying. Joe's correct. Instead of 53,287, it'd be 60,000 of the unassigned highway carryover.
So that would provide for $6,713 in contingency funds, which makes sense.
The wild card on this one is when they do driveways, you don't know if it's gonna, they kind of measure it out and say it's 1.5 tons per driveway for a 9x9 area, but if it goes back any farther, if it's any thicker, then it could change it a little bit. It's $250 a ton when they do the driveways. So that's what the contingency will cover in case there's a little bit of overage on it. Of overage on the bid packets.
So after we vote on the first issue, we should make a motion to authorize you to use 60,000 in carryover funds, right? Okay, I understand.
Ready?
Yes.
We're ready for the first question, yes.
Okay. All those in favor? Indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
So I will make a motion that we authorize the town manager to use an amount not to exceed $60,000 from the unassigned carryover funds to make this project whole and resolve the shortfall that exists.
There's a second? Joe?
Oh, do we need to specify that it is the unassigned highway carryover funds?
Oh, I thought I did that. I didn't.
You just missed it, highway.
Okay. For clarification, that would be from the unassigned highway carryover funds.
Okay. There's a second to that?
Second.
Second. Discussion. If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Anything else, Mike?
The second part in there about the ARPA, when I realized that 104 already come out of ARPA, I just backed off that one and said I'm not gonna ask for any more.
So you're gonna forget that gray box?
Not unless the select board was adamant they wanted to do something like that, but I'm retracting my request there.
Okay, so you're all set on that? Anything else? Any other board members have any questions, comments on that?
Just a question, didn't we just do Johnson Swinner Road recently, or is this a different section?
This is a different section.
Okay. Will that hold up for another year?
If we crack sealed it, so we're, I don't know, I'd say yes, but it's getting to the point where some of these roads that we have are, if we keep kicking that can down the road, they're gonna be like full reclaims and stuff like that, so. But yes, to answer your question, it'll get to another year.
Okay.
Okay?
Is for a state, are they ever planning on fixing them?
Next year is their plan is to pave from Fairhaven at the Stewart's, corner Stewart's shop there, all the way to West Rock,
Every inch of it.
all the way.
Some of it's in need.
You saw they shimmed it out last year, and I questioned it, because I'm like, now you're just gonna have to come back over the next year, and they said we had some extra money. Well, we use that extra money.
Come out of your pocket, my pocket,
Yeah.
where the extra money came from.
Exactly.
Okay, that's it, we'll move on. Update fee structure for the following. Jim Thomas. Are you there, Jim?
Somebody's on.
Jim's not there.
Whoever's on that has just a phone number of ending in 1605, could you please identify yourself so I can put it in the minutes? Unless that's Allison, I don't know. Somebody's on there with just a phone number, I don't know who it is.
Well, we'll have to have a full-blown investigation by a subcommittee, won't we?
You can share the Mr. Chairman.
I said, you just left.
Yeah, forensics.
Subcommittee expires.
They unmuted themselves. So, 1605 phone number, can you identify yourself, please?
Okay. Okay,
No, they left.
They dropped off.
okay, we have a communication from Jim Thomas on driveway cuts, and I believe extension of building permits. You have the information. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we authorize the town manager to change the fee for driveway cuts from $5 to $50.
This says
30.
30.
5 to 30.
Yeah.
5 to 30.
But I think Jim's recommendation was 50.
Where are you looking at? Oh, you're looking at the agenda. I was looking at Jim's recommendation.
Originally, I had said 30, and Jim came back and said, well, if it's 30, why not 50?
Right.
And I think we're gonna, as people are trying to build in our town and all this stuff, I thought 50 was a little high for a driveway permit, to be honest with you. I mean, but we took into account who has to touch it, how much admin time is based on how much time we touch this thing, and $50 is accurate. So,
Second. You all set with your motion, Dick?
Just for discussion purposes, everyone should know that that $5 fee is 40 years old.
And are you talking about 50 or 30?
My motion was for 50.
50, okay.
And was there a second on the 50?
Yes.
There is? Okay. Discussion.
Okay, question. Now, I'm assuming that if I have a new lot and I need a driveway, this is what we're talking about.
Yes.
What happens if a culvert is needed as well? Is that mine or is that the town that's going to do that for $50?
It's your responsibility to install the culvert. The
Okay,
$50 just gives you the permit to do that.
okay.
and then we have agreements on culvert agreements, there's some depends in there, but normally if it's put into our standard, we accept it, then we maintain it for past that.
But we
I'm
don't
not
put,
selling any land, but,
we don't put it in, she has to get a private contractor to put it in. And then you guys will come in and approve it, or disapprove it.
Yeah, and then now we're starting to put that driveway permit application in the parcel file so that we don't try to determine when it was done, how much it was. So now if somebody buys that property, it'll be in the parcel file showing that they got it.
And if these driveway cuts are on state roads, I assume that means Division of Transportation needs to approve it as well, maybe inspect it as well?
Correct, if it's on a state highway, they go through the 1111 permit process with the state.
If it's on the state highway, are we even involved?
So we don't collect the $50.
Yeah, there's nothing we're not anything at all, I can't think of any scenario we would be. And that number's trying to get back in the meeting.
Anything else on this one? If not, your motion was for 50,
That is correct.
and the second was for 50. Agree?
Yes.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next one is the extension of the zoning permit for folks who permits run out.
I would make a motion.
$50 plus the 15 is the recording fee, then it would be filed with the town clerk, and anyone wishing information would have it available to them.
I'm going to make a motion that we authorize the town manager to enact a $50 fee for the extension of building permits for projects that are not done in their initial 2 years.
Plus the recording fee.
Is
second?
that- You want
Oh, I'm sorry.
15, you want a $15 recording fee on top of the 50, or?
Yes, it's on top.
Because it, when I read this, I thought it included the $15.
No,
Said which will include,
On the form,
plus zero to $50 plus $15 recording fee.
That's what the agenda says, but the letter says something different.
Yeah,
now it says include, so I would go with what Jim put in the letter, not what's on the form.
so it's a total of $50,
Correct.
which includes a $15 filing fee.
That's correct.
Okay.
Mike, that's 10 rice.
Oh, okay.
Any questions on this?
I just, how long is the extension for? Is it another 2 years?
Correct.
Okay.
Because right now, there's no provision in zoning for that. So then the question was, they have to refile a whole application again. And now we're starting to get some more serious money. And so Jim came to me and said, we really should have something in there to deal with the extensions.
Okay.
how many extensions do they get?
It doesn't have, there's nothing in the zoning about it, so I think that at this point, what we take into consideration now is if there was any kind of outside circumstance or extenuating circumstances, like COVID hit and they couldn't do something, that there's some discretion there from the zoning administrator, that if they prove that there was something that's, really stopped them from getting it done in the 2-year period. Because they're supposed to start it within 1 year. And that could be as simple as digging a hole in a post, I guess. Doesn't really say exactly what that could be either.
They start in 1 year and finish in 2. If they haven't finished, they can extend for 2 more.
It doesn't say, we're making up these rules as we go, so. Because there is no, could it be up to 2 years? It could be, that we haven't really defined that. So I would say up to 2 years.
And we had a motion on that?
So let me rescind my motion, and we'll take another stab at this.
Go for it.
All right, I'm going to rescind my previous motion, and I think that was seconded by someone.
Yes.
So I'm going to start over. I'm going to make a motion,
Could I jump in?
certainly.
I don't think it's proper for us to decide the term of the extension. I think that's starting to tread on the planning commission's zoning regulation authority. I think setting a fee for an extension is within our proper bounds, but deciding that the term of an extension is limited to 2 years, which seems reasonable. I don't think we should address the issue of term, I guess is what I'm saying.
I see what you're saying, it's probably not in our wheelhouse, so to speak.
Yeah. So,
So, all right, Plan C. I'm going to make a motion that we authorize the town manager and the zoning administrator to implement a $50 fee for the extension of zoning permits, which will include the $15 filing fee.
second.
Second. Any other discussion?
I don't know how I can vote on that, so I can file for an extension and I can not worry about it for 10 years, and I don't know how we can't put a time frame on it. How can we do that?
Maybe Joe's saying is the planning commission needs to come up with some language in the, I don't know.
I think as a separate issue, we should have our town manager talk to the planning commission chair and have them address this issue. Because I think Joe was right, it's in their wheelhouse, it's not in our wheelhouse.
That's fine, but I'm not voting on it if we don't have that.
In the absence of the definitions and defined limits, I think it's, I would defer to the zoning administrator to make that determination.
That's reasonable.
Can we wait till next meeting to do that part?
I have no problem with that.
On a limit you're talking about?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we can get it, we can't change the zoning regulations before our next meeting. That requires an elaborate process of public meetings and such. And I don't think I'm personally comfortable with Dick's motion as he presented it, knowing that unless someone like the planning commission through the rule change process places limitations on an extension, it will be in the hands of the zoning administrator to determine what length period shall be allowed.
I think that's pretty fair, Bob. Zoning can take it up when they do the rewrite, but right now, it says, the zoning regulations say that the select board has the authority to set the fees, but it doesn't say that they have the authority to set the time, the limits. You'd approve whatever the planning commission brings to you, but that's a good discussion that Jim has with them.
Shall we vote on it?
I'm ready when you are.
All those in favor, the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
I'm going to abstain from it.
You are.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just don't agree with not having a time frame on it.
Mike,
Can you ask that person to mute themselves, whoever that is?
Yeah, Tim writes, if that's you on there at 1605, they awarded the bid to you, and can you mute, because we're listening to your phone if you're falling down or something.
making all kinds of strange noises.
Oh, I'm very sorry. I it unmuted. The first time I couldn't unmute, and I tried calling back to just let you guys know it was me that was on the line. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I'll follow up with you tomorrow, Tim.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about this. I was just pacing around, and I just doesn't take much for these to make a little noise with the speaker on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Moving on to discussion of resolutions 22-01 and 23-01. Mike?
Presented to the select board, I did not present 2201, I don't believe, unless it's in your packet. That was the one that was from last year, just as a frame of reference, I guess, but I presented 23-01 as part of the end-of-year use of any end-of-year's budget surplus, as it is defined by departments. Kind of using that, those subject to a budget surplus, I should lead into it with, but if you choose to allow those things to happen that are listed on there, they would have to use that money in this 23-24 fiscal year. So July 1st of this year to June 30th of next year. And there's a couple at the end that were carried over because we just have not been able to finalize them. I'll just shut up there, and if there's anything that's a question, I should probably just go with that further on first.
What's the total amount, Mike?
For the current year, it's on page 6. Of that, it's 85,002. We got a nice copy of it. 315. 215. So $85,215 for the current ending fiscal year, and then $1,500 from the 2022 fiscal year, and so on. You can read down through that, but some of it's really going back into fiscal year 2018-19 for the building for out behind the public safety building for storage and cars. And one side, so it basically, I'm now getting to a different subject, so I probably should just shut up there unless you have questions about it, but we're partially there for funding on that building. We don't have it all, but looking at the resolutions, the old ones are for the purpose of someone for the generator at the town office. We just didn't have enough each year to pay for it, so saving up over a period of 2 years, 3 years, will get us the money needed to put in an emergency standby generator at the town office. It's the only building that we have that doesn't have, the capability right now. The garage has a generator, we just need the manual transfer switch installed, and they'll have it up there as well. But the town office doesn't have emergency backup power.
Questions for Mike? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, before that you make that, they call the motion? One of the things that I think should be important for the select board to know is when I reviewed the rec budget today with Melanie, and we put on our, look at our crystal ball, and look at the rec budget, if you approve these assignments that are in here for rec, our best estimate is that there will still be enough money left in that budget surplus from the total recreation to cover all the expenses at Castleton Village School for the year.
Minus what we will receive from Hubbard?
Yeah, and that was our best guess, so then if you back off 11% of that, it's even better number for us. But so that question was brought up, early on in the year about how are we gonna pay for this, and we kept watching that rec budget, and so now at the end of this fiscal year, our best guess is that there would be money to do the encumbrances or assignments and cover the expenses of the Castleton Village School.
Do you have any idea of the total ballpark figure
Of what, the
fiscal year? The total cost?
I talked to you about it today, and I'm just not, I don't want to go on a limit on this one yet. Because we're still looking for numbers in the transfer station. We still have PD getting reimbursed for governor's highway safety stuff, so. And we still have a month left in the fiscal year, or half a month. But building wise, it'll be almost a month. So,
Is there a motion?
I want to make a motion, but I have more questions after we make the motion.
Okay, all right. Would someone like to make a motion?
I'm being silent because I was unable to get to my box to see the document, so.
Okay, then I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 23-01, the assignment of unassigned general funds.
I'll second.
A second? Okay, now, discussion, Bob.
This is not a question, not really a question Mike at all, but I just asked you where you thought you were with the transfer station. And you told me that there's no way you could figure it out with the solid waste district being so high behind on their billings and their revenues, if there's even going to be revenues from the recycling. But you're telling me here you're going to have a $4,700 surplus at the transfer station. I put you on the spot. How do you do that without knowing all the other numbers that I just asked you?
fair question. It says subject to the budget surplus is what how it's worded in there. So if we have the budget surplus, then this would come into play. If we don't have it, then it just falls off. I had to make some kind of predictions, right? So
That's all I needed you to say. Yep, yeah, and I like the idea of what you're gonna do here, because it's nice that when you pull on the scale, okay, I weigh 15,000 pounds, or I weigh 8, that's very nice.
well, now they're saying we have a year to comply with this. It's mandatory now.
Oh, this is mandatory?
Oh, yeah. And it wasn't budgeted for in the current budget, so I'm like, okay, well, here's a way maybe to get that done and comply with the rules.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions on it? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
You abstain, Joe?
Abstain.
Okay. All righty, moving on.
I'm
Oh, we
sorry.
got something else,
Yeah, well,
Mike?
Allison's not on, so I'm taking the notes as well, so.
Okay,
Can I
we'll wait for it, go
go to the
ahead.
vote?
It was 4 yes and 1 abstention, is that
Yeah,
correct?
4 yes, is that correct?
I believe so. One abstain?
Vote yes, Bob?
I did.
Okay, four yes and 1, and Joe abstained.
I'm just gonna make another comment, and this is not a derogatory comment to you, Mike.
We can have to preface with that, Bob, it must be.
Well, okay, maybe it is. Can we do our best not to have this fiscal year 18, 19 on next year's budget? I know, we're getting up to be 5 years now, we're carrying this winter cater. I know you're struggling with getting the building out back.
Yeah, well, Dick's been helping me, we're getting we got the wetland delineations done, we gotta go through that, maybe amend the stormwater permit, and I didn't have the skills to do it, honestly, so I ended up having Evan Fitzgerald from Fitzgerald Engineering help me, and he did it like in a day and a half, so he knows who to call and what buttons to push, so it's unfortunate it's taking this long, but COVID, that building cost $24,000, $24,500, back in 2018, it's $57,000.
Yeah, I'm sure it's double. Anyways, yeah.
Well, just for the record, Chris, so you know and everyone else here knows, wetlands in that particular spot out back of this building is not an issue. The only wetlands are the place that we're not allowed to mow. Is that correct?
Correct, and this only falls under the Corps of Engineers, unless it's considered a vernal pool, and then all bets are off and A&R is back in our shorts. So we're trying to find that out right now, whether it's a vernal pool.
I don't hear any frogs.
I know lizards, salamanders and frogs are what determines this up.
But at this point in time, the wetlands for the site we're proposing is not an issue.
Right up behind the town office,
No, right behind this building.
right behind here. So there'd be 3 bays, and then the 3rd bay was where because we're struggling with that whole emergency management thing up at the garage. The 3rd bay would be turned into the emergency management place and hooked into the generator and be done with it, and we have a place to store fire equipment, so they have room in the police cars to put into.
Okay, any other questions on this?
You're gonna do that for $50,000?
$57,000 with a 6-inch pad with foam underneath it.
I can't even build a garage for
I
that.
know, it's through, if this would be through the valleys, they prefab it and bring it in, they set it up, we don't have to worry about anything. They pour the only thing we do is prep the site for the concrete.
We did ask the question, and he's turnkey for 57 and change.
It just seems too cheap.
Okay, anything else, Mike, on this?
Well, I think Dick mentioned the resolution for this year, but I'm not sure if I heard him correctly. Does it, for all of those, for the other, so if the wording would be extending or the previous assignments?
Well, those were part of this resolution.
So I didn't hear exactly what you said. so-
I said resolution 23-01, period.
Okay.
And that includes the items from 2021, from 18, 19, et cetera. This resolution was very specific, it included those items.
Right, okay, I'm good, I just didn't hear I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first time. But there is a copy of the sign in there.
I got it.
Thank you.
Is that the one that includes your tune-up?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and I believe we voted on this correctly? We did. 4, okay. So we'll have to sign it. 4-0, right?
4-1.
4-1. Done.
Well, 4-0, you didn't vote against it, you just didn't vote.
Yeah, you're right, that's not a vote.
4-0?
4-0.
4-0. Take a minute, we'll go the other way.
Anybody, while there's a lull in this, anybody see the front of the town office, new flowers and trees?
Yes.
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 Looks
So
great.
Dr. Erickson, he spent a lot of time there cleaning out the current flower garden, and he did that work on that. And Scott Welch planted the trees, so between Dr. Erickson and Scott, they did that work for volunteer stuff, so.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Scott, and also you, Pete, for your hard work. We really appreciate it.
They're tackling the park and ride next. The pole will probably be put in next week, and then they'll be able to finish that.
Perfect.
It's gonna be light down there again, Bob.
Perfect. That's scary down there.
I know.
Moving on. Manager's report?
I don't have one, sorry, folks.
Oh.
I spent all my time on the paving and the other one.
Mike.
Gee.
I know, disappointment.
Okay, then moving on to select board consideration for approval. Brightly proposal for asset management. Mike?
Folks, I could give two hells about that resolution as much as I want that Brightly program. I'm struggling, and so is our public works folks, of pulling data in, and it's just, this past week has been even, with the paving stuff, it just really brings to light the importance of the asset management program. And so when I leave this place, I would love to have a program in place that we know everything about our buildings and roads and infrastructure is captured in one place. And I'd ask that for your support in approving that Brightly asset management tool. This has been before you in the past, and they said I'd come back to you at the end of the fiscal year. I don't believe that you'll be able to put this on end of year or budget surplus. So I'd ask that it be cost shared, this be cost shared across the sewer department and highway department. The unassigned highway carryover, I guess I should say it, for the highway department, and then it come out of the sewer department's budget as well. Because they're gonna partake in this. I don't know how to word it as far as I haven't determined the percentage yet, because I can just figure that part out afterwards.
Okay. Questions for Mike?
Yeah.
Two questions. First question is, are there any other departments that are getting benefit from this?
Yeah, well, all the buildings will benefit, because we're gonna assess all of our buildings, our roads, our vehicles, town lands, all that stuff will be included in here.
So that would also include the vehicles in this building?
Correct.
The ones in that department as well? So should they be in part of the formula with cost sharing as well?
It certainly lessen the hurt from one place. I just don't have a breakdown there.
And the other question I had is, you initially talked about using ARPA funds for this, that's off the table now?
I think that, looking at the robust unassigned highway carryover, and the sewer department has almost $800,000 in the reserve, that we could easily do this without having to touch the ARPA funds. I know the board's been, waiting to hear back from Aldrich and Elliott, which I was hoping today I'd have Preston Lane, back, and I didn't get it. And then I did talk with Wayne Elliott, Jeff Lewis, and Jim followed up on the fishing game does not want to hook into the municipal sewer, so I told Wayne and Jeff to figure it like nobody's hooking into it from fishing, the conservation camp. So hopefully I'll have those for you guys shortly, so you can continue your consideration of ARPA funds. So yes, going back, I would say no ARPA funds are needed for this.
Okay.
Joe?
I have some questions. Starting on the second page, what is discount percentage Sourcewell?
Sourcewell is, it's kind of like state bid, but on the federal side. So this program was picked up under Sourcewell, so we get that 20% discount, I think it is, if we purchase this through Sourcewell.
Okay, thank you. And the bottom right cell on that same page deducts $2,516.79. What's that about?
Ooh, that's a, yeah, I see it, 3 months included, no charge. So that must have been the 3 month charge, they're not charging us, taking out. 3 months included, no additional cost on the first term. That's the only thing I can think of.
Okay. With the clock starting on July 1st, 2023.
Correct.
It sounds like we're weeks, if not months away from being able to begin this.
Yeah, and that's when I talked to them, that's that first 3 months, we know that we may not be able to do anything, or really get this thing rolling, so they're not gonna charge us for the first 3 months. And I'm hoping that we have something, we're gonna pick out the most important stuff first, and I'm focusing on roads, because that's our biggest expense. So that'd be one of the first things. But they're gonna come out and do the survey too. Part of approving this is they come out here and they do the roads and buildings and vehicles and stuff like that, so we don't have that cost.
So, continuing on the first page, the first line that's got a number in it is Asset Essentials Enterprise, and the investment so-called is $10,012.46. The third page has a very similar sounding item, Asset Essentials Enterprise Implementation with Consulting for a price of $10,025.65. Are these two different things? One is called services, one is called professional services.
Dave and Brent were dealing with some of this stuff, and then I may have to defer to them. Dave, you on where you understand what Mr. Mark is saying, or asking? He may not be on there.
John?
No, he's gone. So now I'm stuck with trying to answer the question that I'm not really quite sure about.
Well, I'm guessing that they're different because the spreadsheet carries over on page 3 a subtotal of $7,495.67, and then provides us a total initial investment of $28,794.82, which presumably includes the $7,500 subtotal and the other items in that column. So it looks like a separate thing.
I'm looking to see if it's the initial investment is part of the, what is this, the facility condition assessment for our coding academy. And then I'm looking at the next one starting in '24, that's an essentials enterprise. Nobody told me.
So this is essentially $29,000 upfront with an annual cost of a little over $10,000.
11, yeah. Yes, it goes up after for a certain year.
Right.
Yeah, so starting off in '24 would be $10,312.83.
Right.
Correct.
Thank you.
And how long does that annual fee of $10,000 go for?
It doesn't say 10,000, Jim, it goes up,
That Joe just mentioned.
yeah, it goes up, they run it out to year 5, and it goes from 10,312 and incrementally changes, goes up to $11,269.11 to a 5-year term.
What's the total?
Over the 5 years?
Well, it's about 80.
The subscription cost would be, what, 20, 1, 2, 3, so 50, probably closer to, what, 50-something thousand for just the subscription.
What's your calculator?
50 some odd?
Over a 5-year period. So it's about 10,000, a little over $10,000 a year, going up to 11, so let's just say 11 if you really want to go high.
And that will stay there until we decide to do something different.
Correct.
So it could
We
be
can
20
walk away
years.
from it anytime.
So it could be, or we could be spending somewhere between $11,000 and $12,000 10 years from now.
And I don't even know how to put in words how I view this thing as a godsend for us to get, Keith and I were up there on East Crystal Haven and stuff, and we met with Todd Eaton from Local Roads, and we were talking about, so all these things that we don't have data on, whether culverts have been changed, where they are, signs, all this stuff to be put into this program, and it's gonna take some while to build it, but we don't have to do it all in one day. And I wanna play around with it, because I'm more of the nerdy tech guy that wants the data, so I can pull this stuff down, and be able to assess things with it. And, I don't think Keith could probably do shit about it, quite honestly, but it's not gonna be for his use anyway, it's for myself and Dave and the department heads.
Any other questions for Mike?
Yeah, in year 2, 3, 4, 5, et cetera, what does our $10,000 get us?
The programming, the software programming, any updates or stuff that has to be changed in there.
So do they maintain the database, or do we? They
We
maintain
own-
the database.
We own all the data, but we don't own the platform.
They maintain the database.
Correct.
Okay. So what do you see as the primary benefit to the town of spending this money and having this program in existence? What's it gonna do for you? What's it gonna do for Dave? Et cetera.
Simplest way of
Yeah.
budgeting. So we're looking at, we can assess the condition of our buildings, roads, infrastructure, and help look at that out 5 years and, or longer. I mean, buildings are out 30 years for, you'd say, with roof or heating systems. So it allows us a tool to help budget. We don't lose this data in a filing cabinet in a somebody's scribble pad, and notes upstairs in a box of the town office. It'll be located in one spot that I can look at a road and go, this road, I'm picking a road, has, when it was last paved, or when it was graded, or reclaimed, or when the culverts were installed, and one-stop shop of all this data, so we can help plan and budget. Those are two big things. And the asset management part is like, I think Mr. Mark has said in the past, like, how do we know how much money to put in our reserves? Because we don't know the condition, the current condition, and what those estimated costs will be when it comes time to replace it. That's what this program helps us do.
And this includes all of our fleet.
Correct. Everything. We can count anything we want on this. And the barcodes are for the big items. They're not gonna put a barcode on a shovel, you know, but this is an asset management tool that we don't have right now, minus the beach. Martha's been really good about turning her inventory list every year, but nobody else does. So all that stuff that we buy, whether it's a chainsaw or this or that, it will be accounted for in this program. And we can tell what we have. Right now, they're in the soul of this place to tell me what we have on hand. Whether it's a signpost or it's tires for vehicles.
So does this mean that the operation will become more efficient?
That's my goal, it's always been try to be more efficient with this stuff, but not make it so cumbersome that somebody has to sit in front of this computer all day to keep inputting stuff. You know, it's not that, I don't think it's gonna be that way up front.
Yep.
We gotta build it, and they're gonna help with that asset inventories and give us that initial glimpse of what's the condition of this road, this building, and what are our deferred maintenance, or when we have to replace that roof. It's been another 20 years we have to replace it, and what that cost could look like in 20 years. But I can look at a building this way and go, furnace was replaced in this year, and this was replaced in that year, and when the next replacement comes up, or when we have to look at a furnace and it may not happen in that time frame, but that's what we're budgeting for, right? That we have the money in the bank when we have to fix that roof or those windows or replace that truck.
You want my follow-up question?
Sure.
If that means it's become more efficient, does that mean the possibility of staff adjustment because we're now more efficient?
Not in this case, it wouldn't. Because what am I taking out
I
of it?
just thought I'd ask the
Yeah,
question.
but there's no way, I mean, because this is asset management, I mean, we're not going around, he's not going around looking at trucks going, it's worth this much money, tires in this good shape, we don't do that now. So it's not really gonna really reduce our staffing.
See, I told you.
I'm not making a recommendation for that either.
Okay, Mary Lee?
On roads, for instance, I know Sand Hill Road is just about a mile, because it's set 8/10 to my place, and I'm guessing 2. So is that what you're gonna put down, Sand Hill Road 1 mile, Glenbrook Road so many miles, or is it gonna be broken down that much, or is it gonna be broken down, we have 1,000 miles?
No, we by road. So every road will be assessed for its current condition and start looking at when we need to start replacing things and I'll budget for that.
And you'll have the culverts and things already counted per road.
Culvert, manholes, all that stuff that because that's part of the sewer infrastructure for those type manholes. Yeah, so we could capture all this data on a road and give us a good snapshot of the condition of that road and what we need to spend on it in the future.
Well, I agree with Jim here. I think the savings that you can make here, we can hire that economic person that we want to hire.
Jim, did you say that? Wow, I love Jim.
I heard it. I heard it.
Take it out of high gear, Mary Lee, take it out of high gear.
Push in the clutch.
Okay, anything else on this, Joe?
Well, I just want to say that if we approve this, we are committing ourselves to a certain approach to future hiring. We have to have this very much in line in hiring a new town manager. They have to be committed to this and have sufficient comfort with these kinds of technologies that they will make good use of it. And every other of our major department heads has to be equally invested in carrying this work forward. And the town manager needs to be prepared to ride herd on those department heads to make sure it happens.
Okay?
I'm prepared, and just to kind of build on what Joe just said, I just did an interview on a highway foreman, and I'm looking at that type of person that can be out there in the field with the crew and build trust and confidence that they know what they're doing there, and can take care of the administrative load, because the administrative load on this job has changed significantly over time, of all these the general municipal road general permits and how we do things and grants. And it's not just go out and put a culvert in and do that part. There's a back end of it, of the administrative side. So I am cognizant of that, and what I'm hiring now is making sure that we hire the right person. Matter of fact, Dick was part of the hiring board for that interview board, and, you know, it has to be a good balance of both.
Okay, ready for a motion? Well, Joe, you got another?
No, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Okay.
I would move that the select board endorse the Brightly asset management proposal that the town manager has brought before us, and the upfront expenditure cost of $28,794.82, and accept as well the proposal for annual subscription fees starting in year 2 of approximately $10,000, with the understanding that those will increase marginally on an annual basis.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? If not, I'll...
Sorry, I've asked that do you authorize to spend the highway, money from the highway carryover to get this thing started? And then I'll come back to you with percentages, and we can flush out where money could come from to pay for it elsewhere. But this will at least get it started.
Would you want to add that to your motion, Joe?
Sure. Happy to.
I'll add that to my second.
Add your second, okay? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Mike.
Am I supposed to sign it, or do you sign it, Mike?
You can sign it since you're right there, Mr. Chairman. That'd be awesome.
Okay.
He doesn't want his name tied to it.
We'll make it happen.
Next item. Purchase orders for approval.
Have I got them all, Mike? Or is there more?
What's,
I know I'm missing one warrant, but
yeah, what, that should have all those in.
I've got 5.
okay, I'll make a motion that we approve purchase order number 050438 to Nemrick for the annual support agreement of $5,425.
I'll second it.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Keep going.
I'm going to slaughter the pronunciation, I'm just going to go with B. Make a motion, we approve purchase order near 050425 to VFIS Lovefelter Group for the benefits for the Castleton First Responders Incentive Package for the sum of $7,500.
Second?
Second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm going to recuse myself from this one, Joe, so if you would do the 1405064, please.
I would make a motion that we approve the purchase orders number 050564 to VFLS, care of M&T Bank, for the annual incentive package at a total cost of $29,047.00.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
I have a question.
Sure.
I'm going to recuse myself, but I want to make a comment that this is for the fire department's retirement package.
That's what I guessed, okay.
and I'm recusing myself from the vote.
This is the retirement, Dick?
There may be more to it than that, Mike, but it's the primary thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's their incentive package, so I know it's not normal, it's not like,
I don't, yeah, it's part of our retirement package is what this is, but we pay it in different steps, I think, but this sounds like the big one.
yeah, this is they usually want it in June, but they had some issues, so technically, we usually get this in the beginning of June, but due to some issues they had, it's later, but this is your annual cost. There was a motion on it, right?
Yeah, we need a motion.
No, we have a motion.
I made a motion,
I'm trying to find these.
and Bob seconded it.
And a second? We have a
Yes.
motion, a second?
Yes.
I don't see the warrants in here. I see them, but I don't see any place to sign them.
And I don't think we voted on that.
Right on the front page is this select board approval with the date anyway.
Yeah, but we usually have a place to sign them all, but I don't see any signature page.
On the warrants.
Yeah,
We're doing the purchase order right now.
I got this one.
What are those, Jim? The ones that you just threw back down on the table?
Underneath?
Yeah, are there 5 purchase orders there?
Got a whole bunch of them here. Ah, here they are. Okay, guys. In there. Okay, which one are we on?
050564.
Okay, and we had a second on that?
We moved and seconded.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And I recuse myself. Make a motion, we approve purchase order number 050566 to Leviat Communications for 6-minute or 6 pagers for $2,684.
Is there a second?
Second?
Again, can I ask what this for?
Sure.
Pagers for the fire department.
And it's gonna come out of FY '24 funds, it's over there, so it's in the budget.
In the budget. In the budget, no.
Okay, I found the fire department.
Got it, okay. All righty. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion, we approve purchase order number 050569 to Brookfield Services to replace a controller on the generator at the Public Service Building for an estimate of $2,424.66.
I'll second that.
And a second. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay,
I'm missing one
which
warrant.
one are you missing?
Well, if you hand me the original warrant thing, I'll read them out. The warrants, not the purchase orders.
There you go.
Okay, so this is the one I didn't have. All right. Make a motion, we approve the following warrants. 0612R for $650. Warrant 0615 for $29,238.89. Warrant 0622 for $1,649,896.33. Warrant 0626 for $217,530.76. Warrant 0615P for $17,525.95. And warrant 0622P for $17,933.73. And warrant 0626A for $3,805.21.
You misspoke on 622P. You call that 933.
All right, then I'll amend my motion for warrant 0622P for $17,930.73.
I'll second.
And second, any discussion of the warrants, these warrants? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Got something more there?
Well, I'll do this one. This is the one to be approved by everyone but Levy. I'll make a motion to approve warrant 0625 for $104.06.
I'll second.
And second, any discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
You didn't vote on that, Joe?
Yeah, I will.
You weren't supposed to.
It was for you.
It's for you.
It's for me? I haven't seen it.
That's because
I recuse myself, of course. I don't have it in front of me, so I can,
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what this warrant 0626A was.
we've already approved that, have we not?
Yeah, I know, I was just. I didn't
Mr.
get a chance.
Chairman? Mr. Chairman,
yes, Melanie.
this is Melanie Combs, town accountant. That add-on is for the pole down at Park and Ride, Green Mountain Power.
Before we remote. Okay, thank you.
I would move that we approve warrant number 0616P for $612.53 and 0623P for $612.53.
I'll second it.
Second. Any discussion?
Recuse myself.
You do it yourself. Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Is that it?
That's it.
There you go. Now I see it.
Mike, can I ask you about the Lions Club?
Yeah.
I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I sure can.
Mr. Chairman, on that letter that's in your packet, I was gonna include that in the manager's report that I didn't give you, so. There's a separate item in here, if I could address the board about it.
Sure. We'll keep signing, you keep addressing.
All right, there is an email I gave you a copy of from Pat Short from the Lions Club, and because of the inclement weather this past Saturday, they had to cancel their coin drop, and they want to request an alternate date of Saturday, August 26th, and there's no, right now, there's no conflict for that, of other coin drops, and then let's see, a conflict there. Yeah, so basically, and then they had an alternate date of October 28th. So August 26th is they're requesting as their rescheduling date, and then if they want an alternate date of October 28th. So I wanted to bring that forward the board, and there are no conflicts of the dates you've already provided.
Just a question. That is around the time that the university often has its students coming in, which could be great for the Lions Club. But I just, if that were to be the case, if that were the major move-in day, would we care?
I don't know, I think we've done it on, like,
That's why we do homecoming.
the homecoming and stuff, so when they try to catch, wasn't no traffic, so.
Well, they have to go over the bottom.
Oh, sorry.
I'd say it's probably no more intrusive than that is.
Yeah.
I had another question on that. Are we designating a spot for them to do this?
They can do it within the town, on the town side of Route 4A, so basically from the Tag Motel, where the
Yes.
state highway ends and ours begins, our responsibility through the village by the,
Train station?
no, by the green.
Anywhere in that stretch?
Yeah, that's what they usually set up as the green.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we plan to set up. Okay, anything else?
What am I doing here?
Is there a motion to grant the Lions Club their request?
I would move that we grant the Lions Club their request of backup dates in view of the fact that their planned coin drop was canceled because of weather. Allow them to use either the date of August 26, 2023, or the date of October 28, 2023.
There's a second.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
One or the other, but not both, correct?
Yes, or.
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you. You look at that, Mr. Chairman, I got 8:51 and 8:55 is select board comments, 4 minutes ahead of schedule.
Thank you.
We skipped the manager's report.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're still signing, right? We're not ahead of schedule.
Should have 10. You have 10?
I didn't count them. I struggled to count and write at the same time, so I didn't do that.
See, if you've done boot camp, you could at least walk and chew gum at the same time.
That I might be able to do.
That's what they said they were gonna teach us there. Will they teach you, same thing?
Yep. Not in that order.
Maybe.
Except we weren't allowed to have chewing gum.
Yeah.
Select board comments or concerns?
I'm all set.
No set. Joe?
Couple things. One about our technology. First, I'm deeply upset that Mary Lee is not on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
So her 2 hours of fame has been stolen from her.
I apologize.
And, I mean, is it possible to get the remote attendees on this monitor?
I think it's possible, I just haven't figured it out yet. I think I need help with that from the technological gurus over at Vermont Digital.
Okay.
I struggle with this, especially when I'm trying to do more than one thing, I didn't know it very much. Not that I was trying to cut you out, I just didn't even pay attention to it.
Yeah.
I'm
And
just an idiot, but.
especially to get the full board in here, it seems like it's not a great idea to have a remote visitor like Dave Precious up on this screen when we could be using that screen.
Well, I can put it on that screen, that's what, the problem is I can't make it blow up to the full screen yet. I can't figure that part out.
Okay, well that's,
I can do that
I mean, if we had the remote attendees there,
with that,
yeah,
yeah, and then I can't, you
that's
can't,
fine.
that, I can do it like that.
And if we could have the others, like, you know, Melanie and Allison when she's with us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What about? I did, this is my last meeting.
Dick, any concerns?
I just wanted to
Oh, I'm
have
sorry.
another comment, Mr. Chairman. Just in my capacity as the head of the sailing camp, I wanted to mention that we've gotten a couple of recent donations. We've gotten donations many years, but recently Brad and Liz Bird gave us a generous donation for the sailing program, and so did Jeff and Pat Schrader. So I just want to acknowledge their contributions publicly.
That it, Joe?
Yes.
Dick?
I'm good.
Good. Bob?
Just wanted to bring it to the select board's attention that the Rutland County Solid Waste District pays their district surcharge. Again, this past January, I guess we determined that they raised it by $1, so now it's $21.47 a ton. That's an extra $1,100 to $1,300 for our transfer station expenses. And for a grand total, we pay somewhere between $45,000 and $49,000 in district surcharges each and every year.
Okay. Thank you. Mary Lee?
Is this in our packet for a reason?
What's it say on it?
This is the trestle,
The trestle?
but it was last meeting.
Oh, I just provided to you the draft of that thing. We're still tinkering around with that thing and trying to figure out how to pay for it.
Anything else? If not, any need for executive session, Mike?
I would defer to the board if I can provide an update on Sand Hill Road project. And I'm not sure if there's anything to discuss about Castleton Village School, what's transpired.
I
can
think
share
it'd be
something.
helpful if we had a brief executive session on the real estate.
Want to make a motion for that, Joe?
I would move that the board and the manager go into an executive session for the purpose of discussing real estate.
A second?
I'll second it.
A second? All those in favor?
Aye.
For an executive session?